Next, while we join an activity through Zoom application, we should open the camera and adjust the camera horizontally. Okay, the whole tutoring tonight. Okay, and if you have any question, you can type a question into the chat. The expert and admin staff will answer you. Okay, okay, have participants from Indonesia. Okay, if you have question, you can type a question into the chat. Okay. The next, I would like to introduce the expert who will provide knowledge today. He is Venerable John Paramai Dhanissaro or Longpi John. He received both his bachelor's and master degrees in computer engineering from Chulalongkorn University and Asian Institute of Technology, respectively. In 2003, he then furthered his studies and had completed his Doctor of Philosophy in Telematics from Norway. After completing his Doctor of Philosophy in January 2008, he has been teaching an online meditation program that includes moon phase, free only meditation that is held twice per month, and on-demand meditation sessions. This online meditation service platform has been serving more than 120,000 people from 235 territories worldwide. And on this occasion, I would like to invite Longpi John for providing the story of Vesak Day and interesting Buddhist principles. Please give a welcome to Longpi John. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Mang John speaking from Thailand, or Longpi John speaking. I will first ask if you are able to switch on your camera so that I can see maybe your reactions and how you understand as well the lecture, the lessons, okay? And if I may ask you, actually today's lessons is about the Lord Buddha. So if I could ask you to actually show respect, like not to lie down when you're listening to this, because I think I saw like maybe a couple of people who were like sleeping at the moment. So in order to actually give like our respect to the Buddha, and because I actually want to encourage you to do so as well, we are not gonna lie down and listen to the lecture, okay? So think of today as a like I'm sharing with you a biography of the Lord Buddha. Maybe some of you have listened to that before. Maybe some of you have never listened to it at all. So if I may ask, if you have ever listened to the biography of the Lord Buddha before, could you raise your hand or could you type maybe like one in the comment? Like if you have ever listened before to the Lord Buddha biography, okay, can you type one or maybe you raise your hands, all right? Can you raise your hands or type one? If you ever, this is not the first time, okay, I can see none. What about the rest? Have you ever listened to the biography of the Lord Buddha before? One, Kong Yin Yin. And okay, I changed my questions. Anyone who never, this is your first time, never listened to the biography of the Lord Buddha before, type 2, or raise your hands at the moment. Raise your hand at the moment or type 2, okay? 2, never. I actually see that there is a person from Somaliland. Actually, I have some friends in Somaliland as well. I taught them meditation. And I think they are from Hakeshar, right? Are you from Hakeshar? From Somaliland? Are you from Hakeshar? Abdi Baset. Are you from? Okay, maybe not. Yeah, he's from Hargeisar, right? Okay, I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. Hargeisar. Great. I have some friends over there, and they actually meditated with me. They came to Thailand before, so that's how we get connected. Okay, so not to waste our time, because I think we have uh, quite a few stuff to cover with today. So today, what we're gonna learn is the biography of the Lord Buddha. But I would have time to talk about the present life, because when in Buddhism, when we talk about biography of someone, especially the Lord Buddha, we need to talk about the biography or the stories, not in the present or the last lifetime. Okay. Okay, if this is new to you, or you never had any idea before how, well, if it is possible to have the previous life, well, I probably don't have time to explain everything today. Okay, but if you have any questions, you can ask as well. All right. So basically, the Lord Buddha, or the word Buddha, is a title. Okay, it means that maybe one day, if you want, you can also earn similar titles as well if you want to become a Buddha in the future. Anyone who wanted to become a Buddha in the future? No. Okay, no one said no, not me. Okay, what about Lim Kier? Are you from which country? And what about I think Sorum, right? Sorum. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. You're from Cambodia, right? And what about Lam Tumio? Lam Tumio, are you from Indonesia? Justina from Indonesia. Okay, great. Okay. What about Frankie? What country are you from? Frankie. What about Hashnar? What country are you from? Okay. It's great that you open your camera, because now I can see you, and it would be nice if you can, just use our hands to respond. Okay, Lim here is from Cambodia. Great. And what about Lam Tumyor? What country are you from? And Anita, what country are you from? And Frankie, Lam Tumio is from Indonesia. Anyone else from Indonesia? I think this is the only person from Indonesia, right? What about, oh yeah, I can guess which one of you are from Thailand from the names. Okay, because I'm also from Thailand as well. What about Kong Yin? Kong Yin Yin. Kong Yin Yin. Malaysia. Okay, great. Okay. And I think I see like a Spanish name. Are you from the Philippines? Anyone who are from Latin America? Or maybe any of you from the Philippines? Okay, there are 2 from Malaysia, or 3 from Malaysia. Great. Or 4. Okay, 4. All right. Excellent. Okay, so not to waste of time, let me explain and share with you the story. Actually, the story of the Buddha, he began his story like a normal human being. And somehow he was with his mother, and he worked in a ship. Okay. The story was very much similar to Titanic, except that he didn't have a lover. So he was on a ship, and the ship actually went into like a big hurricane or thunderstorm or something like that, and then the ship was about to sink. Then he decided to jump into the sea. Okay, and by jumping into the sea, he managed to survive, but he almost drowned. But he was dying in front of his eyes. Okay, so let me ask you, what is your feeling if you were on his feet, like you were in the middle of the ocean, you just jump from a ship that is about to sink, and then you see a lot of people die? What would be your feeling? You can type as well. What would be your feeling? Like, yeah, he was like a normal person, and then he was on a ship, and the ship was about to sink, and a lot of friends that he had made on the ship was they were dying. Okay, so that they actually, there was very unfortunate event, and a lot of people died that night. So somehow he managed to think that, a lot of people die, and if he would die as well, that would be really an unfortunate event. Yeah, shocked and hopeless, right? So he started to think what the meaning of life is. Okay, so he was thinking. I'm not sure if you ever think that way. What's the meaning of life? Have you ever curious what the meaning of life? So he had that question at that particular moment when he was swimming in the vast empty ocean. What is the meaning of life? And he was trying to ask himself this question. Is the life just like people who was dying in front of my eyes? Because he was seeing a lot of friends dying at that moment. Then he had an idea. What if I could save, so that if these people would die, but one day I could save more, and don't actually have to repeat, like they don't actually have to come back and reborn, and they can escape. I'm not sure if you ever watch a movie, like, I think the movie is called Matrix. Have you ever watched that movie before? Anyone who ever watched Matrix before? Or probably is not for the Gen Z, right? Not for the millennium, for my age. Matrix, Keanu Reeves. Come on, no one at all? Oh, don't ask me. What about Kon Yin Yin? Have you ever watched Matrix before? No, okay. All right, forget it. Let me ask other questions. The question is, okay, probably you are in high school or something, like some school, all right? But if one day someone tell you, your principal tells you that you need to repeat your class. So instead of moving forward from grade 5 to grade 6 or grade 4 to grade 5, you probably have to be in the same grade, okay? Let's say now you are grade 10, maybe. Some of you who are in grade 10, no, 11, 12, great. Me, okay, some of you. And then you have to repeat. Maybe grade 5 again, grade 10 again, grade 11 again. If you repeat your study a year, that probably be fine. Okay, you can enjoy your time, right? But if you have to repeat many times over and you get store, you get stuck at grade 10, you get stuck at grade 11, and you can't proceed to the next grade whatsoever. You can't move next. What would be your feeling? Well, you probably don't want to get stuck, right? You probably want to go to university. You want to move your life forward, but you can't. You just get stuck. So that is the meaning of what we call samsara, or rebirth, the cycle of rebirths. So people who feel like, if I could not do something with my life, I will get stuck in this cycle of rebirths forever. And then my friends who were drowning in front of me, who are dying, maybe one day they will come back, they repeat their life, and they died again. And if they get rebirth, and then they died again. So that's the feeling of the Buddha or the man. At that time, he didn't even earn the title Buddha yet, but he earned a different title, Bodhisattva. Okay, Bodhisattva means someone who actually make a vow that one day he or she wanted to become a Buddha in the future. So that's the meaning of Bodhisattva. All right. So he makes such vow that, well, I see a lot of people suffer. I see a lot of suffering. I see that life is full of suffering. I don't want people to suffer again. So if one day I could find a knowledge so that I could help a lot of people to escape this cycle of rebirth, that is going to be very awesome. So that earns him Bodhisattva title, okay? And then he had to work with a lot of things, and he had to work himself with some sort of powers. But instead of calling these powers, if I call them habits, more sense. So they are 10 habits. Maybe you are probably more relatable to the word habits, right? If I say that if you wanted to become a Buddha, you have to be super patient, right? Because some of you have listened to the Buddha biography before. So if in order to become a Buddha, they have to be super patient. So patience is one of the habits. So this is 10 habits that you need to develop until you become a Buddha, okay? So we call them 10 perfections. So that is a very long journey. It's not only one life, it's not only 10 life, it's not only 100 life or 1,000 life. I would say it's not even 1 million lives. This is more than that. So this long journey actually make him very convinced and make him very committed that one day he wanted to become a Buddha, and he doesn't want to quit his journey. Okay, so that's the thing. All right, so that's the thing. So suppose that now we move forward, we go actually to the time that he was ready to become the Buddha. Okay, the time while he was on his journey, you can read from the book, or you can read from a series of stories that is named Jataka, or Jakata, Jataka, or Chado in Thai, okay? Chado. Jataka, which means stories while the Buddhas were still Bodhisattva, trying to pursue the 10 perfections. So you can read a lot of stories. There are like many stories, many good stories that we can actually read to teach ourselves, okay? To teach ourselves. Well, let's move forward. In this Buddha story, the thing is, there are a lot of stories that are pretty much considered as miracles. And it's not very easy to explain without a lot of prior context. So I don't actually have time to explain every context. So if you feel like, oh, some story is a bit too, like very, very new to you, or you need explanation, please type in the chat, okay? Please type in the chat if you need any explanation from any story that I'm about to tell you, because, well, that's we probably need a few weeks in order to explain everything. I'm sorry I don't have that much time, because I'm given only 1.5 hours to finish everything, okay? So we move forward to when the Buddha was about to become the Buddha, okay? He was then a deva, or a celestial being, or sometimes you can use the word angel, but in Christianity, the word angel represents something else. So we prefer to use the word celestial being. So suppose that the Buddha is a celestial being from a heaven, and that heaven is the fourth heaven. In Buddhism, we talk about different levels of heaven, and there are the main basic level, 6 of them. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's from number 4. All right. But the good things about reaching that level is when he was ready to become a Buddha, he is able to choose where to be born. Okay. So suppose that we are normal human being and we are like in heaven or maybe somewhere else, we are unable to choose where we want to be born. All right. So, and if you have these 10 perfections, these 10 power, these 10 power will be enough for you to be able to choose 5 things here. First, you're going to be able to choose what time is the best time for you. That is called lifespan. Okay, so the lifespan, the average lifespan of human beings these days are about 75. You probably can live more than 75, then you're lucky. If you are 75-year-old and you die, then you are average. But if you are less than 75, then you are unlucky because you don't live to the average human lifespan. Okay, are you still with me? Yes. Okay, you still with me, right? Good. We are good? All right. So that's the lifespan. That's the meaning of it. Second, you'll be able to choose as well a planet that you want to be born. Well, in Buddhism, we talk about aliens. All right. But aliens are a little bit farther away. So there's no alien very close to our planet Earth. Basically, according to Tripitaka, if you want to go to a different planet with aliens, you need to have better rocket. Okay, and with present technology, we don't actually have that rocket that travels faster than the speed of light. So it's probably not possible to go to the next planet with living beings or something like that. So, okay, if Elon Musk wants to go to Mars, he found nothing. If you go to Jupiter or Neptune or Planet 9, you found nothing. But you want to go to a different planet that has civilizations, then probably we are not ready yet. Okay, maybe SpaceX needs to come up with better fuel, a better way to power your engine or something like that. So that is the planet. Which planet do you want to be born? So the Buddha probably didn't want to be born in Mars or on the moon or somewhere else, but then he chose to be born in planet Earth, okay? And country and cities as well. So in this sense, it's gonna be India, all right? And the next is caste and clan, okay? Caste, you probably have never heard of this word before, so I'm gonna explain to you, okay? In ancient India, there are 4 basic castes. First is Brahmin. Like they thought that Brahmins is like a part of a Brahman, part of Brahmins from the head, and then Kasatriya. Kasatriya is from the arms. Okay, so like how the Brahman can work with the arms, and then Vaishya, or the merchants or the traders or the farmers, they are from the lake, and Shudra or Sud in Thai, okay, they are laborers. And so these are 4 main castes, all right? They don't want to mix. And it's like very sensitive issues in ancient India that if you marry across different castes, then you doom. Your kids are also doomed. And your kids will have a new caste that is called Dalits or outcasts. So you don't actually want to marry with a different caste because that is how they're so serious. They want to keep their blood pure. And they sometimes even marry between their own clans. So they keep actually their blood pure and they don't mix them together. So this is how the Buddha choose to be born in Kasatriya caste, or the caste of a warrior or the king. Okay, so once these 5 surveys or the 5 considerations has been made, then he actually decided to come from the fourth heaven to the womb of the mother. Okay, so the mother also had a dream that there was a white elephant who came to give the mother a lotus flower. So that's supposed to be a good dream, all right? So what's the name of the mother? We can see this diagram that in Sakya clans, actually the Buddhas is from the Sakya clan. The father is named Suttotana, and the mother is named Siri Maha Maya or Maha Maya Devi. Okay, or there are different variations of this. Okay, so if you see these names, you probably we have to be aware that sometimes they spell differently, but mainly they refer to the same person. Okay, Maha Maya or Siri Maha Maya. So these are the same person. Okay, so if you get Mahamaya or Siri Mahamaya, then you actually get the point. All right. And then when the father, you know, and when the actually the Buddha was in the womb of his mother 10 months. So that's maybe something that I find a little different than our present world, because we maximum are in our mother's womb only for 9 months, right? Anyone who were more than 9 months? Anyone who were before 9 months, like 7 months? No. Okay, so you all were in your mother's womb 9 months, right? We all 9 months. I was also 9 months in my mother's womb. But the Buddha actually spent 10 months in his mother's womb, all right? Okay. So it was also a tradition in India that the mother needed to deliver in her hometown. So instead of delivering her son in Kabilavastu or Kabilapat in Thai, Kabilavastu, she went back to Golita clan, okay, Golita clan, to deliver there. So this is like a kind of a culture in the past. So while she was passing a forest called Lumbini, so the birth locations of the Buddha is Lumbini. She just wanted to spend her time there because Lumbini forest was a pleasant garden with a lot of trees, maybe a lot of butterflies as well. Okay. And then she delivered Buddha over there in the Lumbini forest. Okay. And the story says this is one of the kind of miracles that the Buddha could walk 7 steps right after he came from his mother's womb. Okay. So he was able to walk 7 steps. Okay. And not only that, he was also pronounced something that is called bow pronouncement. The bow pronouncement that I am the most sublime being on earth. I am the supreme being on earth. I am the most sublime being on earth. This is my final rebirth. There shall be no more rebirths for me. So that is how he announced. Okay, so this is not even 1 day old. This is not even 1 day old. This is just few minutes old or something like that. Okay, so that is considered a miracle because it's probably something that we do not find. Anyone who were born and can speak immediately, not one of us here, right? We learned few years to speak, but the Buddha, he actually been through this a lot, and because of the 10 perfections power that he had accumulated for many lifetimes. For example, he will never get angry. Okay, in this life, if you get angry already, then well, maybe next life you try it again. So you need to be very patient. Like, okay, this life, if I get angry once, next life I will try my best to get angry less. And maybe one life at all, one life in the future, when someone pisses me off, I'm not getting angry at all. I'm smiling to them. So that means that your energy or your level reach the max, or what we call the 10 perfection. Okay, that's how we can develop ourselves to become the best person, not even better person, that the best person possible. Okay, so 10 perfection, the word perfect means that we try to work ourselves so that we can perfect 10 habits that are required to become a Buddha. Okay. Okay, so Samueli, you don't understand, but maybe you can actually tell me what you don't understand, because this story is not very easy to explain, but then we don't actually have much time. So if you don't understand, you can also read more from the books, but I'm trying to go straight to some points that might actually help you to connect better when you read the book. Okay, so if you listen to me today only, you probably don't understand everything, so please find time to read the books as well. Okay, and here this is the kingdom called Kabilavastu. Okay, in the old days, but these days this kingdom is in Nepal. Okay, very close to the border between India and Nepal. So this is an ancient kingdom that doesn't exist these days. It was about 2,600 years ago that we talk about this period. All right, so when we talk about many years in the past, you probably find it very hard to relate with, right? They say that we human beings are able to relate with the past, not more than 100 years. If you talk more than like 500 years ago or like 1,000 years ago, we had no idea what's going to happen. It's like people in the past, if someday someone was going to tell them that in the future something can fly in the sky, they say, no, it's impossible that one day something will fly in the sky, right? But if I tell you that in the past, people can fly with their supernatural power, you probably thought, no, that's not true, because it's against the law of Newton. Right, we have no idea, because we actually are very used to our era, like not more than 100 years ago, right? Where people in the past, they had like better mental power because they had more meditation. They didn't actually have distractions like these days. We have Facebook, we have Instagrams, you are TikTokers, and you spend like 8 hours on TikToks. People in the past, they spend 8 hours on meditation. So they're supposed to have better meditation power or something, right? Okay, let's come back to this. I have some bird facts. Okay, so the Buddha parents, the Buddha's name is Prince Siddhartha. Okay, Prince Siddhartha is his name before he became the Buddha. And the caste is Kasatriya caste or monarch. So he was born in a family he's supposed to be a crown prince, and in the future he's supposed to be a future king. So that is monarch or Kasatriya caste. Okay, and his father is named Suttotana, and his mother is named Queen Siri Maha Maya, and the stepmother. Okay, the word stepmother is here because the Buddha's mother passed away when he was 7 days old. Okay, so when he was 7 days old, Queen Siri Maha Maya passed away. All right, and then the father, King Suttotana, remarried with Queen Maha Pachapati Kotami, which is a younger sister of Queen Siri Maha Maya. Okay, and the birthplace is in Lumbini Forest, which is now presently Nepal. So these are the Buddha's birth facts. Okay, again, the name is Prince Siddhartha. Okay, Siddhartha is the name. And the caste is Kshatriya caste. And he also, the father's name is King Suttotana, the mother's name is Queen Sri Mahamaya, and he has as well a stepmother because his mother passed away when he was 7 days old. The name of the stepmother is Queen Mahapachapati Gotami, and his birthplace is in Lumpini Forest. Okay. All right. So yeah, according to this, all right, I had to go to this first. When the Buddha was born, there were some other things that were born at the same time. We call it 7 persons and stuff that happened in the world in the same day. Okay. And one of them is Minister Kalutayi. And the second is the head royal servant, Channa. And then there were as well one prince. His name is Ananta or Anon. Okay, and the princess Yasodhara is his future wife. She is his future wife. And then there's a horse called Kantaka horse. And there are as well 4 treasure trove and a Bodhi tree. They actually happen on the same day, okay? And then when he was 7 days old, his biological mother passed away. So then he had got a stepmother, the sister, the younger sister of Queen Mahamaya. So her name is Mahapachapati Gotami. She is his stepmother, okay? All right, and according to the history, in the past, when someone very important was born, they also had what they call a royal naming ceremony. They invited like philosophers or scholars to give a proper name to a newborn baby. Okay, so we take a look at this picture. You see a lot of people, and there's a baby, and the baby was Buddha when he was like 7 days old. Okay, and then there were 8 people who got invited. We call them the 8 Brahmins. Okay, these 8 Brahmins, they were like the best of their class. They were really like they were really good in kind of telling the future. You know, in these days, you probably can read futures from hands. You can read future from different stuff, right? So these guys actually try to predict future based on the birth time. They see the birth time, they see characters of the Buddha, and they try to predict how this boy is gonna be in the future. Okay, have you ever come to someone who predict your future before? Anyone? A fortune teller? Okay, we got some people. What about Hong? What is your future from the fortune teller? What about Kong Yin Yin? What is the story that they told you? Are you going to be an engineer? Are you going to be a doctor? Are you going to live abroad? Are you going to live, okay? Yeah, so this is what the king actually wanted to hear. You know, but the king didn't want to hear anything, but the king wanted to hear that my son is going to be a great king in the future, period. Or my son is going to be an emperor in the future, period. This is what the king wanted to hear, okay? But somehow 7 Brahmins made 2 predictions. They said that, you know, your son had 32 characteristics of being a great man. If he would pursue a secular interest, he will become a great emperor, great emperor. So like all the kingdoms will submit to him and they will fall under his power. He's going to be a great emperor. But your son also had a spiritual interest. If he were to pursue the spiritual interest, then he would become a Buddha in the future. If you were the king, if you were the father, what would be your feeling? Happy? Yeah, my son is going to be a Buddha. I'm happy. He was super worried. Then there is one from the eight. His name is Godanya or Godanya. He actually made one prediction only. Instead of making two, like the other seven make two, okay? They play safe. They say, okay, if your son would have a sacred interest, if you were going to be a king, he's going to be an emperor, he's going to govern many countries and so on. But if you were going to be a spiritual leader, a religious leader, he was gonna be a Buddha. So that's the other seven say. But then Gontanya said that this boy definitely, from his 32 characteristics of a great man, will one day become the Buddha for sure, period. He actually made only one prediction. And that worried the king a lot. Why? Because the king didn't want his son to be the Buddha. He wanted his son to be an emperor, right? An emperor. And actually, if we study history of India, Kabilawast, or the city of the Buddha, where his clan was, used to be a very great kingdom. But somehow later on, a nearby kingdom grew bigger. Okay, so now Kabilawats is just a tiny kingdom. It's not as big as the neighbor. So it's the dream of the king, Suttotana, that he wanted to restore the greatness of his kingdom. So he wanted his son to succeed the dream. Okay, so succeed the dream. So he actually gave the son everything. Like he asked maybe people to dig a special canal, special pond that will make pleasure to the son, and then gave the son super good education. Maybe if these days would be one of the best school, elite school or something like that. So about the education, the son or the Prince Siddhartha, he graduated from a school called Vitsavamitra Hermit School since he was 7 years old. But he studied only for 7 days, and he mastered the 18 branches of knowledge. And these are the 18 branches of knowledge, like to combat or to fight, politics, law, commerce, literature, philology, mathematics, astronomy, geography, astrology, medicine, philosopher, zoology, mechanics, theology, war strategies. Like you can actually be very good in fighting in war, and music and composing. Well, we typically need 4 years to study one of these subjects in university, right? Anyone who like to study in one of these subjects? What will be your interest? What is your interest? Anyone who like to study medicine, raise your hands, medicine. Anyone who like to study commerce? And what about, okay, music? Any musicians here? Okay, we got one musician, okay. Anyone politics, who want to become a prime minister, president of your country? Okay, music, great. Okay, so he mastered this knowledge, and he actually were like the best usher, the best fighter, and he was able to beat all other princes in the same clans. Okay. I like computers as well. I had my background in computer. Okay, good. You're gonna be a good programmer. But there's one thing. Actually, when he was 7 years old, when his father was doing a very important royal ceremony, like planting ceremony. We have this in Thailand. It's called Phut Mongkol. I think we have that in Cambodia as well. I'm not sure what it's called, right? When like someone important is doing farming or plantings in front of a lot of people, and they have a cow, and the cow will eat something, and they make prediction based on what the cow eat. I don't know what they eat this year. I have never heard of it, but yeah, that's the planting ceremony, how it looked like. Okay, so the son or the prince didn't know what to do. He was sitting under a tree and he was meditating. He was doing nothing, really nothing at all. And somehow his mind was so pure, he actually went into the flow of meditation and he discovered his body. Okay, so that is the first time he meditated. And when the king actually came to get him, the king bowed to him. And that's super strange because normally a king would never bow to the son. So that is when the king bowed to his son. And the king actually got very afraid at this moment. I'm bowing to my son. Oh, maybe my son is going to be the Buddha in the future. I'm bowing to my son, something like that. Okay. So the king tried to actually make sure that the prince will stay a prince. The prince will stay the prince and not to become the Buddha. So he actually made the prince's life full of pleasures. So he prepared good dancers, good singers, good musicians, and tried to make sure that in the castle of the prince there are no four things here. First, if anyone is old, they have to go out of the castle. They cannot stay in the castle. If anyone is sick, they have to go out of the castle. They cannot remain in this castle. This castle is for healthy people only. So it's like probably these days in COVID-19 situation. Anyone who got COVID-19, go somewhere else, right? Similar. Anyone who is about to die, you go somewhere else. So no dead people, no sick people, no old people, and no sight of a priest or a monk as well. So they never actually have these people in the castle. The prince have never witnessed one in his life. So his life only witnessed beautiful people, beautiful ladies, dancers, musicians. Have you ever watched another movie? Okay, I'm talking about a movie again. Maybe you can find on Netflix, I'm not sure. But this movie, the name is True Man Show. Have you ever watched this movie, anyone? True Man Show. No? Okay. I'm going to spoil you, okay? Oh, there's one who watched this movie. Can you type what this movie is about for your friends so that you can share with your friend what this movie is about? True Man Show. I'm going to give you a little spoiler, okay? That a man actually lives in an artificial island. Everyone knows that his life is artificial except himself. So he never actually know before that he lives in a film or a movie, but there was a lot of cameras, so the world is watching him, and he's the only one who doesn't know that. So that's the whole thing of the movie. So this is similar to the life of the Buddha. He never knew that his life is to some extent, okay, I need to use the word Prince Siddhartha at the moment because he's not the Buddha yet, okay? So he never knew that his life at the moment is full of illusions, full of fake things. It's not real things, okay? And this is what the father was trying to make him believe, that his life is full of pleasure, it's full of comfort. So he even had 3 castles. The father ordered 3 castles to be built so that he can spend his time in one castle in winter. On the second castle, he will spend in summer. And on the third castle, he will spend in the rainy season. Well, that's very good, right? Because Sometimes we don't feel comfortable in our house because the weather is too cold or some is too warm. We switch on air condition, but there is no air condition 2,600 years ago. So the castle was very constructed in a manner that's suitable in the seasons of its kind. Okay, so that's very good. And then when he was 16 years old, the father summoned all princesses from nearby clans so that the young prince could pick his soulmate. Okay, and then he didn't got his interest in any princesses, but then he actually showed his interest in a young princess that was born on the same day, and her name is Yasodhara or Pimpa. Yasodhara or Pimpa. Okay, right. So we got a testimonial from Tatsanan, or I don't know what your name is. I watched once. It's a story of a true man who stayed in the world his stepfather created, and his life is recorded. Yes, his life is recorded, except that the Buddha's life was not recorded because there's no webcam 2,060 years ago. Okay, all right. All right, so what would you feel if you live in Prince Siddhartha's shoes? Would you gladly live as the young prince forever, and one day you become an emperor, one day you become a king? Anyone who made the choice already? And now I'm asking you, what if you were in Prince Siddhartha? I'm gonna live as the prince. I'm gonna live as a king forever. I'm not gonna become a Buddha. I will choose to be the prince. Okay, type one. Okay, if you will remain as a prince, if you choose to remain as a prince, I'm not gonna ordain whatsoever. I don't care. Being a Buddha, I don't care. Okay, type one. Anyone who feel like, yeah, but this is artificial world. This is not my choice. This is not the life that I choose, and I will probably choose to my own life. This is what my father created for me. Type 2. Okay, 2. Oh, that's cool. Cool to know. Hobart say, I'm gonna spend my luxurious life. I got a lot of money. I don't have to worry about my work. I don't even have to finish my study, right? Okay, no matter what choice you choose, that's reasonable, right? So somehow the young prince felt like his life was in a cage, and he liked to escape and to travel far from the castle. And when he traveled far from the castle, what he saw was, the first time he saw old people here. And then he asked old people, he asked his royal page here. Okay, Channa, his name is Channa. Remember, Channa. Okay. He asked his royal page, Channa, who is this guy? Oh, I don't know, but he's an old man. Oh, really? Are you going to get old? And Channa said, yes, I'm gonna get old in the future. What about my dad? Is he gonna be older? Yes, your dad is gonna be old. What about my mother? Is she gonna get older? Yes, your mother is gonna get older. What about everyone? Am I gonna get older? Yes, you're gonna get older. And then Prince Siddhartha was, seriously, he never had any idea before that some people can be older, because what he was seeing is the world full of illusions like this. People are beautiful, they're very young, they were created by the king. Okay, and then one day he actually saw a sick man. Okay, and then he asked Channa again. He went from the castle again. He asked Channa again, Channa, who is this guy? Oh, it's just a sick man. Sick, what does it mean? Does it get COVID-19? Yeah, something similar to COVID maybe. Oh yeah, he got COVID. Can my father get sick? Yeah, your father can get sick. What about my mom? Can she get sick? Your mom can get sick. What about me? What about you? Yes, everyone can get sick. And he was surprised again. Surprise, big surprise. Never heard of sickness before. Okay. And then the third person that he saw was a dead person, a dead man. Okay. And then he asked Chana again, oh, Chana, who is this guy? He died. He doesn't even breathe, right? Okay, Chana, are you going to die one day? What is the meaning of dying? Are we not going to meet each other? Yes, yeah, if we die, we're not going to meet each other. Maybe if we get lucky, we will probably meet each other somewhere, okay? And then the Buddha asked, what about my dad? Is he going to die? What about my mom? What about me? What about you? What about everyone else? Are they going to die? Everyone's going to die. Okay, and then the Buddha was a little bit more enlightened at that time. Prince Siddhartha, I'm sorry. Prince Siddhartha was a little bit more enlightened. Whoa, everyone's gonna die, everyone's gonna get sick, everyone's gonna be older. What about this person? And then he went another occasions to see a very polite, quiet, charming monk, okay, or priest at that time, priest. Oh, who is this man? He's a priest. He's an ascetic. Oh, he's so calm. Can I become a monk like that? If you choose, why not? Then that's the answer from Chana. If you choose, why not? And so ever since he's been thinking about being a priest, being a monk. He wanted to, oh, that looks so calm. That looks so liberating. I don't want to live in this illusion. I want to choose my own path. So that's the feeling, okay, the feeling of Prince Siddhartha. So this is called the four celestial messengers, because somehow the messengers or the pictures that they saw was not just a coincidence, but probably was prepared from some devas or some celestial beings, okay? An old person, sick person, dead person, and ascetic, okay? Ascetic. It was kind of prepared. But then, there's one thing that holding Prince Siddhartha is the wife. And on the day that he was preparing to escape, his son was born. His son was born on the day that he was preparing to escape from the castle, okay? And that's how he named his son Rahula, which means chain, like chain that tied you with something and you can't actually escape. Okay, you bring chain to a cell, you can't escape from the prison. So he actually named his son Rahula, which means chain. But then he was thinking, shall I escape? Shall I leave? What about my son? What about my wife? What about my people? What about my parents? Have you ever had that feeling at all? Like making very huge decisions. Maybe one day you're going to make one. Like, are you going to remain in Cambodia forever? Or are you going to maybe live abroad, like in England? You're going to study in the US? Or maybe you come to Thailand? But whatever decisions that you make, it's going to actually have very huge things that you need to sacrifice, right? If you make these decisions to go left, then you have to sacrifice the right. So this is the sacrifice that the Prince Siddhartha was making, okay? But then what actually made him easily choose was the night. So before, he was seeing all those dancers like this. Everyone looks happy, beautiful with makeup. With their dress, they look very nice, they look very beautiful, and they were dancing. But in the night, when they were sleeping in front of the prince, saliva was coming, they were snoring as well, they didn't have makeup. Prince Siddhartha said, okay, so what I had been seeing until now was a fake, was not real. that's not the real faces of the dancers. So this is the real faces, and they don't look as nice as they were during the day, right? So Prince Siddhartha actually was okay. He made a decision now. He made the decision that it's time for me to leave, and then he went to say goodbye to the wife, Princess Yasodhara, and to the son, Prince Lahular. Okay, Princess Yasodhara on Prince Lahular. And what he said was, you know, forgive me. I need to pursue my Buddhahood, because if I stay with you, we may have a happy life, but then we have to die again. We have to reborn again, and we have to suffer again. We cannot escape the cycle of rebirths. But if I could pursue the Buddhahood, if I have gained that power, I will come back and teach you and liberate your life. So thus freeing you from being in this prison. That's what the last word that they say, and he said. And FYI, for your information, because we don't get to that point, he came back after being a Buddha and teach his wife and his son to go to Nirvana as well. Nibbana or Nirvana. Nibbana is in the Pali version. Nirvana is Sanskrit version. Okay, and then he went and escaped with a super horse that's called Kantaka horse. That's the strongest horse, the fastest horse, and it could jump across rivers as well. Okay, so he actually ordained next to Anoma river bank. The river bank that he ordained, the name is Anoma. Okay, and then he cut his hair, and then he make a prediction that if he throw his hair and it's gonna float in the air, it means that he's gonna be the Buddha in the future. But if his hair fall into the ground, it means that he will fail. Okay, and when he throw his hair into the sky and the hair was floating, then he was very glad that he actually was more confident that he would be a Buddha in the future. Okay, but then he didn't know how, so he went to study in 2 meditation schools. So in fact, meditation had existed even before the Buddha's enlightenment. Okay, so he went to study meditation with 2 teachers. One is called Alala Yogi, and the other is called Uddaka Yogi. Alala Yogi, or in Thai, Alala Dabot. Uddaka Yogi, or in Thai, Uttoka Dabot. Okay, so 2 yogis, the best teachers, the best meditation teachers. But then he managed to gain every knowledge that his teachers had. His teachers even invited him to become assistant or to become the next teacher, to become the next gurujis. But then he refused. He said that the knowledge that you gave me is very good, it's very profound, but then I feel that it's not the things that I was looking for. Okay, so he actually went to perform self-mortification. So he started to first reduce the amount of food that he eats. He lived his life very luxuriously in a castle. So he needed to do something the opposite. So that's why he started to perform self-mortification, or to torture himself. Okay, to torture himself. First, he decided to reduce the amount of food, but then nothing worked. So he started to press his teeth together like this, pressing his teeth strongly, and that created a lot of tensions on his face and on his head, and nothing worked. And then he, on the 3rd trial, he tried to hold his breath. It's like he was breathing in and he was not breathing out as long as he could, and nothing worked as well. And then while he was doing their self-mortification in the place that is called Uruvela Senanikam, okay, Uruvela Senanikam. So that's a forest, okay? And then there were a bunch of guys, 5 of them in total, who became his caretakers. They called the 5 ascetics, okay, or the Panchavakiya, the 5 aesthetics or the Panchavakyas. And one of them, if you look here in this picture, I'm not sure if you are able to see the difference. This guy, his name is Godanya. Do you remember him? I talked about him a while ago. I talked about him previous lives ago. You remember him, right? Godanya was the head of the Panchavakiya here, or the 5 aesthetics here. So Panchavakhi or Panchavakyas, there are 5 of them. Their names are Kondanya, Bhattiya, Wappa, Mahanama, and Asashi. Okay, and they were the 5 caretakers that were helping Prince Siddhartha while he was doing self-mortification in the forest, in Uruvela Senanikam forest, for 6 years. 6 years, I was very skinny. It was like, okay, I was he was trying his best. He was trying to press his teeth. He was trying to hold his breath. He reduced the amount of food he consumed. So it's just few grains of rice, even 1 grain of rice a day in certain period. Okay, he actually became very skinny, but then nothing worked. So he was reminding himself of the time when he was 7 years old. He told himself that, oh, when I was 7 years old, I was sitting under a tree and I was so relaxed. At that time, I was happier than who I am now. So maybe I try to do the same thing as I was 7 years old. So that's the first feeling. And the second, and then there was a Deva. He actually was playing a celestial guitar, but this guitar has only 3 strings. Okay, only 3 strings. 1 string is too tight. When the Deva tried to play that string, the string was broken. The string breaks apart. Okay, when he was playing that string, dang, and then it breaks. And then the Deva was trying with a loosened string. If anyone played guitar before, if you play guitar, you probably had an idea that you need to tune your guitar, right? You need to tune several times. You need to have these days you can use your phone to tune guitars. Even piano, if anyone played piano, I played piano before, you need to make sure that maybe once a year you invite a mechanics or piano tuner to tune your piano. Okay, so that's what you need to do. But this guitar actually was very strange in the way that a string is too tight, a string is too loose, and when the celestial being played the middle string, the sound is great. So when the Buddha heard the sound of the middle string, then he could relate with his life that before he lived a righteous life, it was like a loosened string that doesn't produce good sound. But now what he's doing now, self-mortification, is like the too tightened string. The string that is too tight. When the celestial being played that string, it broke apart. Okay. So the Buddha was, whoa, now he actually knew that what he needed to do is called the middle way, not too extreme on the self-pleasure, like to pleasure yourself with eating, with drinking, or with movies, or with pleasures, or not to torture yourself as well. Not to torture yourself. You needed to come to the middle. And that's why the Buddha started to eat again. And now he was eating again. But the drawback is the caretaker all left him, because the caretaker felt that or something like that. And the caretaker said, oh, we are so disappointed in you. You say that you're gonna become the Buddha, and now you give up your practice. Come on, you're gonna quit being a Buddha? Then we're not gonna take care of you anymore. So they left him. Okay, but the good thing is this place is even more quiet, very quiet. Now he's alone, super quiet. Okay, so he actually started to eat, and the last meal before we become the Buddha, Miss Suchada. Okay, Miss Suchada came to offer rice pudding, okay, rice pudding. It's very special rice pudding, and they made from pure like milk, but they actually boil the milk many times. I don't remember how many times. You can read from the books. They actually made the curd from the milk, and that's the best quality. It's like fine quality cheese. If you are into the cheese culture, very close to like very expensive cheese, okay, that you probably can eat from France, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not into cheese culture. I'm not a cheese guy, okay. Yeah, pizza is good. Pizza is fine with me. Pasta is good, but not cheese. I'm not into that, okay. So then there was a guy who actually came and offered like some glasses or some plants that he used to make his throne. Okay, so he used the offer plants or offer glass to make special throne for him. And then he started to make a throne under a Bodhi tree, and the place is presently called Bodhikaya, Bodhikaya, or Bodhikaya. Okay, that's the place of this Bodhi tree. All right, in India these days, in India. Is it going to be easy? Not easy, because a Deva that wanted to become a Buddha as well felt a little bit jealous of Prince Siddhartha. So that Deva said he's a Deva. He's from the sixth heaven. Actually, he came, and he marched his and he used his power to make like creatures or monsters or something like that to frighten the Buddha, so that will make the Buddha afraid, or the Prince Siddhartha afraid. So he gave up because he didn't want Prince Siddhartha to be the Buddha before him. So this guy is actually a Deva who got jealous, right? I'm not sure. Maybe have you ever got jealous of someone before? So at that time, maybe you become as well a monster. Because when you are jealous, you have prejudice, right? And then whatever you think is going to be negative, whatever you say is going to be negative. So this is actually a Deva or a celestial being that got jealous, and he had prejudice with the Buddha. So he was thinking of the Buddha in a negative way. So he actually came to challenge the Buddha. But somehow the Buddha refers to the 10 power or the 10 perfections. And these 10 perfections is the power to beat the Mara. So the guy who came, actually we call him Mara. Okay, so he actually has a different title called Mara. When he referred to this power, the Mara was beaten. Okay, and then he had the time to meditate, to find the inner peace within himself. And he meditated 12 hours. The first 4 hours, he actually gained the first power called the first insight. And he was able to recall his past lives. He remembered that the last life before becoming Prince Siddhartha, his name is Vesak or Vesandara. He actually was a king as well. And before that, he started to recall his life. Okay, in the previous lifetime, he was being like this. In a different lifetime, he was like this. He was a king before. He was a beggar before. He was a rich man before. He was a poor man before. So his life was full of ups and downs. Sometimes he was born as animals. Sometimes he was born like an elephant. Sometimes he was born like a monkey. And there were many animals and all kinds of species he has ever been born before. So he felt like, oh, life is like this. Life is full of ups and downs. And then he was able to get the second insight after 4 hours. So the second 4 hours, so after 8 hours altogether. Okay, so the first 4 hours is used to get the first insight. The second 4 hours were used to get the second insight into the law of karma, into the karma of all beings around him, into the life of our other beings. So he unable to understand about his father's life, his mother's life, about his wife's life, and so on. And the third, that within his own mind, there's something called kilesas. Okay, I can write here kilesa, or sometimes you can call them defilements, mental defilements. Or if you want to make it like modern words, they call viruses of the mind. Viruses, like computer viruses. You know, you have a computer, your computer can be infected with viruses, and that's going to make your computer run weirdly or not very rapidly. So that's similar to the mental viruses. If you have mental viruses, they are greed, anger, and delusion. Your mind is not going to work properly. Okay, so that's the mental viruses. So once he gained these three power, then he actually got enlightenment. Okay, so that enlightenment is the discovery of the Four Noble Truths. So what are these Four Noble Truths? Let me explain. Okay, the Four Noble Truths is the world is full of suffering, because you maybe after this life, one day, no matter how young you are, some of you are like 10th grade, some of you are 11th grade, some of you are 12th grade, right? You're going to be 7 years old one day in the future, right? Or maybe if you are lucky, you can be 100 years old. Anyone who wanted to live up to 100 years old? Why not? Maybe in the future, they have very good technology. Even you are 100 years old, you're still strong. That's so good, right? But you are not going to live forever. You're going to die one day. So that's a fact. So that's the truth. That's called the truth. The truth is the truth. The truth is everyone dies. Have you ever seen someone who managed to escape dying in your life? Anyone who lived an immortal life? Immortality, right? Yeah, I will be too old to use modern technology. They say that Gen Z or millennials, they are very good in adapting. Maybe you're gonna be an old person with and being able to use technology. Who knows? Because now you are TikTokers, you are you use WhatsApps or something like that. So maybe, why not? But this is actually called conscious suffering, because after you die, you're gonna be born again. So Buddhists are not afraid of dying, but Buddhists are afraid of being born again. Okay, so that's called suffering. And then when you're born again, one day you're gonna get old, and one day you're gonna die, and then repeat. Live, die, repeat. One time, no problem. Live, die, repeat. 2 times, no problem. Live, die, repeat. 100 times, that's a problem, right? Live, die, repeat eternally. That's huge problem. So that's called suffering. And the cause of suffering is kilesas in the mind, craving, anger, delusions. If you have these guys in your mind, so I put these little cartoons here, but actually they are not like cartoons. They don't look like this. Okay, so this is my versions of the kilesas, of the viruses of the mind. But somehow the Buddha discovered that when you stop thinking completely, when you manage to stop thinking completely, you will find the Noble Eightfold Path. And once you walk this Noble Eightfold Path, you will be able to eradicate or eliminate these guys for good. You're gonna kill them for good. And then you're not gonna come back to this again. That is called enlightenment. Okay, that is called enlightenment. So the enlightenment facts, The Buddha started his ordination when he was 29 years old, okay? When he was 29 years old, he left the castle, and then he spent 6 years. So this is 6 years apart, okay? And then he did self-mortifications for 6 years. So that's for this period of time. And then he went to under the Bodhi tree to ordain. And then he discovered the Four Noble Truths. And he actually taught himself. So that is why he earned a title or a virtue here, Samma Sambuddho, which means self-enlightenment. No one teach him this. He actually was a student of 2 schools, but then that led to no good. Okay, but when he decided to pursue enlightenment by himself, he managed to gain that. Okay, so he went to the 5 ascetics so that he wanted to teach him what he learned. He went to these 5 guys in a different place, and now they are somewhere else. But the 5 guys said to themselves, among themselves, that if the Buddha came, okay, we're not gonna welcome him. We're not gonna welcome him because he is now in our eyes not a winner. Okay, but then when the Buddha came, they changed their mind because the Buddha actually was very charming with some new power, very charismatic, and he has like even auras from their body. So the Buddha taught these guys. The first teaching is called Dhamma Cakkappavattana Sutra. It's the first teaching of the Buddha or Buddhism. This is first ever. Dhamma Cakka, which means wheel of Dhamma. Wheel of Dhamma. Okay, so that's called wheel of Dhamma. Kappavattana means prosperity. Wheel of Dhamma that leads to prosperity. Sutra is like chanting or knowledge sutra, okay? And this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra talks about the middle way. The key message of the first teaching is that we should not indulge in self-mortification, torture ourselves, and we should not go to the other extreme. So these are two extreme, okay? Being a yogi that tortures themselves is a kind of extreme that will not lead to enlightenment. Or give yourself luxurious life and try to, find pleasure from that luxurious life will not lead to enlightenment either. But then if you consider this guitar, if you tighten the guitar very well in the middle way, that guitar is going to produce proper sound. So the middle way is the way between these two extremes and not on one end. That's the essence of Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra. So somehow one of the 5 managed to follow. Okay, so one of the 5 managed to follow, and his name is Gontanya. Gontanya. So these are some of the first teaching facts. The place is called Isipatana Marukadaya Forest. Okay, that's the name of the forest. Well, if you maybe can remember an easier version, it's called a deer park or the deer park because it's a park given to deers, probably not humans. So only the 5 guys was living there, but otherwise the rest are deers. If you ever come to many temples, you can find deers, like statues, deer statues, because they want to mimic Isipatana Marukadaya forest. Okay, and the students of the first teachings is the 5 ascetics. Okay, and the Buddha discovered and taught the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, and the first monk is Venerable Gondanya. And okay, Venerable Gondanya. So when Gondanya managed to follow and also see the Dhamma, the Buddha say Gondanya has seen it. Gondanya has seen it in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra. If you ever listen to it before, it say อัญญาสิวัตโพโกนทันโยอัญญาสิวัตโพโกนทันโยสิ okay so you have to probably find that chanting online then he changed into the first monk and this is the first monk that the Buddha ordained by himself there are different processes of ordinations me I was not ordained by the Buddha himself so Vacha, which is not the same as this one, okay? So this one is very privileged because it's the Buddha that ordained you and you are not ordained by other monks. So that's very special. It's called Ehi Bhikkhu Upasampatha. Ehi Bhikkhu Upasampatha. Okay. And the day when the Buddha taught the 5 aesthetics, okay, that's called Asalaha Puja or Asalha Puja, which means the completion of the triple gems. So before this day, there was the Buddha and there was Dhamma as well, but he didn't teach anyone, so there was no Sangha, no monk, okay? But after the first teaching, after he taught the 5 ascetics, okay, then the triple gems was completed on these days. There was the first monk who ordained these days, okay? So that is called Asalaha Puja, Asalaha Puja, which is the full moon day of the 8th lunar calendar month, okay? All right. Now we're gonna finish very soon. We're gonna finish. So during the life of the Buddha, after he actually gained enlightenment, he gained enlightenment on the 35 years old, but then he passed away when he was 80 years old. So he spent 45 years teaching, okay, and then he taught actually, we call this the 5 daily schedules. So he goes for alms in the mornings, go for alms, or in the Pali version it's called Pintabata, or in Thai, Bintabat in the morning, okay? So that's the morning. In the afternoon, he would teach lay people like you, like me, lay people, or not me, because me is in the evening. Monks, he will give sermons to monks in the evening, okay? And then beings like Deva or Tevada, okay? And near dawn, he will use his meditation power to find who he is gonna teach. So that's the 5 daily schedules, like these pictures. Morning, arms around, and then afternoon, teach lay people, evening, teach monks, midnight, teach the celestial beings or devas or tevadas, okay? And then near dawn, he will use his power to see who he's gonna teach in the next day. All right, so that's the 5 teachings. And then when there are more and more monks, then they needed to have temples. And the first temple is a forest temple. It's called Veluwan or Veluwana Mahavihara. But the name is just Veluwana, which means bamboo temples, okay, bamboo. So you can see bamboos here, right? Bamboos, these are bamboos. So these temples are like decorated by bamboo. So a lot of bamboo trees there, okay? So it's called Veluwana Mahavihara, which is a big temple or something like that. That's offered by King Bimbisara. King Bimbisara. The Buddha also had people helping him. One of them that I like to mention here is the assistant, Venerable Ananda or Pra Anon. Okay, Venerable Ananda is his assistant. His son also became the first novice monk, Samanera Lahula. Okay, his son, the son that was sleeping here. Do you remember? This is the son. His name is Lahula. And later on, the Buddha went to teach his son, but in fact, the mother asked his son to ask for the treasure. But the Buddha said, the best treasure that I can give you is the Dhamma. And then he taught Rahula meditation, and Rahula became enlightened as well. Okay. And then he spent times on teaching 45 years until the Dhamma and Buddhism was well established in many places, and eventually came to Southeast Asia. And I heard that to some extent went to like Malaysia and some part of Indonesia as well, because you have Borobudur, right? In Indonesia, Borobudur is the symbol and evidence that the Buddhism went there many years ago, right? And then the last teaching, the Buddha actually asked the monks, do you understand the teaching? Do you still have any questions? Okay. But no one had any questions because most of them also were enlightened or arahants. So they didn't have any question. Then the Buddha said, then I'm going to give you the last teaching. He said, you know, everything in life is impermanent. They're subject to vanish. So don't hold on to them. You need to strive with heedfulness and not be careless. Not be careless, because time is going and you're getting older every day. If you don't persevere, if you don't try hard, you're going to fail in this life, and maybe next life you're going to be born again. So you need to have heedfulness. The word heedfulness, well, you can use the word mindfulness or heedfulness or carefulness. So I think they can be very similar. But if you want to use a precise word, the precise word is heedfulness. But otherwise, you can also sometimes use the word carefulness or mindfulness as well. Okay, so we come and look at this. The day that the Buddha was born, and the day that he got enlightenment and he passed away, they all the same day. It's called Vesak Day or Visakha Pusha Day. It was the full moon day of the 6th lunar calendar of each year. Okay, that's called Vesak Day. And usually Buddhists will do 3 rounds of circumambulations around a chapel, say the yard. Yeah, and it's recognized by United Nations as an international importance day on 1999. Okay. And the reason is because the Buddha actually became inspirations of many meditators across the planet. So they actually nominated these days. Okay. And there's a little passing away facts here that he actually passed away in a place called Vanodayana Park in Kusinara City under a sal tree when he was 80 years old. And that is approximately 543 years before Christ, or before Common Era. BC is before Common Era or Christian Era. Okay, so that's like how sometimes when we want to calculate what year is in Buddhist eras, we plus 543, okay, we plus 543 into Christian era. So if you want to calculate 2021 into Buddhist era, you're going to plus 543, that's going to be 2064. Okay, 2064, this year. That's the year when the Buddha passed away. They start counting year 1 since the Buddha passed away. All right, so I use the time quite efficiently, and that's how I come to an end of the presentation. So my presentation has come to an end. If you have any questions, you can also ask me, okay, if you have any questions.
Long John, I have a interesting question from Frankie.
No, I hope that
Uh,
uh,
I,
you were following, right?
yes.
You're looking at the screen and you're playing games.
Yes.
Hopefully not.
He asked that what will happen to those who have been born as Buddhists, but when they are adults, they change
Okay.
religions.
Oh, you have Telegram group. Excellent.
Yes.
Any questions about the story today? No? All good? So otherwise, I wish you good luck in the test. Okay. And I think there were already some questions from my presentation today. So if you follow the presentation thoroughly and manage to remember something, you're going to be able to answer many of them for sure. Okay. Gonna have, you're going to be able to answer many of them. The last teaching of the Buddha is related to heedfulness. Heedfulness. Okay. Heedfulness or carefulness or mindfulness. So they are probably identical, or maybe you can use them not interchangeably, but yeah, it can be carefulness as well. But the official word, official term that they use is heedfulness. Okay. Well, not precise, because sati, it has to be together with sati and sampachanya will be more precise, not only sati alone. Because sati is gonna make you actually not feeling stupid. No, sati is gonna prevent you from making mistakes, and sampachanya is gonna make you, gonna prevent you from feeling stupid later on. So that's sati, sampachanya, they're different. It's like I'm hitting a nail with a hammer. I hit carefully. I have sati. I hit carefully. But then eventually I forgot that I was gonna make a table, but I make a chair. So that's sampachanya. Because if you are not able to tell what you're gonna do, then you're gonna feel like, oh, I'm feeling stupid because I made a chair instead of making a table. Even though you don't actually hit your thumb or your fingers even once. Okay. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. Yeah, it's not very easy to explain everything in just 1.5 hours because the Buddha's biography is very long. So I actually cut many important parts and try to make it's like fit in the 1.5 hour time frame. Okay, maybe you manage to read the book later, and that book actually elaborate more and probably help you understand better for today.
Okay. I Now I am grateful to Long John for giving us the knowledge today, and okay. So today we have gained. Okay, I am grateful to Long John for giving us the knowledge today, and today we have gained knowledge about the Buddha, that it is not easy for him to enlighten as a Buddha and bring the principles teach to everyone for 45 years. So now we will do the post test about Buddha biography. By this test does not affect the actual score in any way, and admin staff will send its link on the Zoom chat. Okay. Okay, next, I want to apologize about the Vesak Day activities on this Wednesday. We will meet again on this Wednesday at Zoom application, and we must participate the Vesak Day event from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. for 1 hour. If you have complete 1 hour of the activity, you will be eligible for the Vesak Day examination that will start at 8 past 15 p.m. Okay, before the end of tutoring, everyone please open the camera. Open the camera. Okay, for taking a photo together. Okay, action one is mini heart. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it now. Let's do it. Ready, ready. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Okay, okay. The next action is why. Why is Thai greeting style. You put your hand do like this, like like the lotus, and put on your chest. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Okay, thank you. Next, I would like to ask everyone to type our impression about this tutoring in the post on at CNAP International fans Facebook page that the admin staff will send its link on the chat by typing your name, your country name, and a description of your impression about the tutoring sessions for improvement in the next time. In the meantime, I would like everyone to follow the news from the group of Telegrams, WhatsApp, and CNAP International Facebook page as well. If you have any questions, you can ask more information on the aforementioned contact. On finally, if there is any mistake, I would apologize on this occasion. Okay, thank you, the participants around the world, for joining this tutoring session. Okay, I hope that everyone will gain knowledge and principles for living a good life. See you again on Vesak Day, the 26th of May. Thank you, goodbye.
ดวงจันทร์ในคืนวันเพ็ญโคจรไปในอากาศสว่างกว่าหมู่ดวงดาวด้วยกำลังแห่งรัศมีเชกดังพระชินสีเมื่อทรงอุบัติในโลกรุ่งโรจน์กว่าสัตว์ทั้งมวลเรานั้นเป็นผู้เลิศประเสริฐที่สุดในโลกนี่คือชาติสุดท้ายพบใหม่ของเราไม่มีวิสาขบูชาเป็นวันประสูติตรัสรู้ปรินิพพานวิสาข ท่านทำใจหยุดนิ่งดำดิ่งสู่กลางของกลางได้ตรัสรู้ธรรมเป็นพระสัมมาสัมพุทธเจ้า
วิสาขบูชาเป็นวันประสูติตรัสรู้ปรินิพพานวิสาขบูชาเป็นวันพระสัมมาสัมพุทธเจ้าวิสาขบูชาเป็นวันปรินิพพานดวงจันทร์นำความสว่างเจิดจ้าในท้องนภาองค์พระศาสดาส่องธรรมสว่างกลางใจก่อนจะปรินิพพานท่านทรงประทานปัจฉิมโอวาท
สังขารของเราไม่เที่ยงเสื่อมสิ้นเป็นธรรมดาพวกเธออย่าได้ประมาทรีบหาที่พึ่งแก่ตน
วิสาขบูชาเป็นวันประสูติตรัสรู้ปรินิพพานวิสาขบูชาเป็นวันพระสัมมาสัมพุทธเจ้าวิสาขบูชาเป็นวันประสูติตรัสรู้ปรินิพพานวิสาขบูชาเป็นวันพระสัมมาสัมพุทธเจ้า
ดวงจันทร์ในคืนวันเพ็ญโคจรไปในอากาศสว่างความหมู่ดวงดาวด้วยกำลังแห่งรัศมีเชกดังพระชินสีห์เมื่อทรงอุบัติในโลกรุ่งโรจน์กว่าสัตว์ทั้งมวล
วิสาขบูชาเป็นวันประสูติตรัสรู้ปรินิพพานวิสาขบูชาเป็นวันพระสัมมาสัมพุทธเจ้าวิสาขบูชาเป็นวันประสูติวันเพ็ญเดือนหกวิสาขปุณณมีจุติจากดุสิตบุรีประสูติทรงเดิน7 ก้าวทันทีพระมหาบุรุษผู้เปี่ยมบารมีได้เปล่งอาสกินวาจา
เรานั้นเป็นผู้เลิศประเสริฐที่สุดในโลกนี่คือชาติสุดท้ายพบใหม่ของเราไม่มี
วิสาขบูชาเป็นวันประสูติตรัสรู้ปรินิพพานวิสาขบูชาเป็นวันพระสัมมาสัมพุทธเจ้าวิสาขบูชาเป็นวันตรัสรู้เห็นวันวิสาขบูชาทรงตั้งจิตอธิษฐาน
มัชฌิมาปฏิปทาท่านทำใจหยุดนิ่งดำดิ่งสู่กลางของกลางได้ตรัสรู้ธรรมเป็นพระสัมมาสัมพุทธเจ้า
วิสาขบูชา